What is going on, guys? Fortune here from VDiamond Chicken. Welcome to another video where today we are going to be looking at a redstone item filter slash sorter thingy my bobby. So before we get into this design is not the cheapest at all. It includes a lot of hoppers, comparators, and stuff like that, especially if you are doing it on massive scales. So I wouldn't do this without an iron farm, because if you're trying to store things, as you can see in the background, it includes quite a few hoppers. So to start off, I'm going to show you so this is a stackable design. So I'm going to show you one strip, and then I'm going to show it further on the others. But basically, how this works is this item is filtering redstone. So if I just quickly put some redstone in there, obviously it does it slightly different with this, but on one strip. So I'll show you later it on the second strip, but it will slowly but surely take all of the redstone dust out of here, and because it prioritizes the bottom hopper before the side hoppers, it then goes into here, and this hopper is not facing down, it is facing sideways, and there is nothing sideways, but what it is it's a comparator detecting when there is something here, so a redstone dust there, and then so it detects when I have two. Obviously, this design can be tinkered a bit. That should maybe be a bit better. Okay, so the thing is, while messing around with this design, there we go. So that is the tick that you want it to be on. I'm just gonna quickly come over here and change it. I know this is supposed to be some sort of tutorial, so I kind of should have it all prepared. But basically what is going on is this hopper right here is locked because this redstone torch is powering this block, which is powering this hopper, and that means this hopper can't suck anything from the top hopper or give anything to, well, actually, yeah, can't give anything from itself. So it is stuck where it is. It can't do anything. It is useless. So basically what happens is an item goes in here. It makes the redstone tick go one bit longer. So that's why there is this exact amount of items. I'll explain a bit more of what items you put in here. And basically it then activates this repeater one tick later, but also leaves it on for a bit more time. So it means, because this hop is also being powered, but you don't want it to be powered, that means there's not much that you can do. And yeah, so basically what I did is basically it'll let the redstone torch slightly shorter if there is any item that needs to get into this chest. But that's only if an item needs to get into this chest, or even this chest, because if you remember, well, that was a terrible way of showcasing it. But this needs to be unpowered to do anything. But that is pretty much the circuit. Now the items in the hopper is done like this. So it doesn't have to be claymores. So if you are organizing something, if you're organizing clay, you wouldn't use clay here. So you would use an item, either the same item as what you're filtering, or an item that you're not filtering into the system. So if you're filtering every item into the system, I would have to replace all this clay with the exact amount of redstone. And the reason why it's this amount is because 44 clay balls spread it out like this, and one redstone dust is what's equivalent to 45, and that is enough to power 2 redstone dust, just enough so if one more comes in, it'll power that redstone dust. And that is basically, that can be used in multiple different ways, multiple different things. But basically, clay balls, because I don't know if there is any way to farm them or stuff like that. That's why I just put them here as my example. You can use paper, you can use pretty much any stackable items. And basically, if you're trying to filter something that isn't stackable, I'm sorry, but I do not know a way to do that. So if you do want that, you would want to do that. You need to look for a different tutorial. But for filtering stackable items, so like redstone, wool, grass, and pretty much the quantity of well, over 80% of the creative inventory is all stackable. So the quantity of items can be put through this type of filter. But basically, you need a strip per every item you want to filter. So if you're wanting to do every single item in the game, you'd have to stack this millions, trillions, billions time, which is not the best way. So you might want to go for a bulk storage, which I might show a tutorial on soon. But basically, so yeah, that's pretty much how it works. The item that you filter, you put a single item there, and this is so you can organize things that are a bit more rare, but you do need to filter. It's like things that you don't have a lot of at the moment. It's just so you don't need to leave like a load of item here, a load of items left here. Just generally. But basically, I would only put a single item and then 44, spread it out over 4, which is 11 in each slot of the item that isn't being used in your sorting system. Obviously, what you could do is just rename an item like a random thing like subscribe or something like that. And then, yeah, it will only organize things that are called subscribe and redstone in this case. So basically, if we come over to this bigger version of that, stacked by 5, this filters all of the different items in my inventory. If you can see at the bottom here, I'm just going to quickly take out all of that. And then if I put all of this in, it is not the quickest way. I know there's many other ways. I think there's somewhere else in my testing world. But I'm not going to go. Actually, I will go explore that. But basically, you can do it with water. You can do it with hopper minecarts. But the most efficient way is hoppers. So, and the thing about water is you can't have it directly on top of the hoppers because of Minecraft being smart, but also uh, uh, not being usefully smart. They made it so items can get trapped in this little gap here, the bit that I'm actually standing in, if you can see on the F5 mode. But basically, yeah, that's very annoying. So what you would have to do is have items pushed across a being pushed on a water stream by something that is slightly smaller than a normal block, such as a honey block, but it would have to be directly on the side. So it would be basically here, able to be sucked up by the hopper. And I'm not sure which one you would rather. A honey, um, a load of honey blocks or a load of hoppers. Up to you. But then again, you still have to use a load of hoppers. So it's not. There is no way to get out of using hoppers. I mean, there probably is a way, but it would be a lot more harder and a lot more difficult than just using hoppers. and that would be using a load of droppers. And yeah, droppers can just be confusing sometimes. So if you remember, we put a load of items. Obviously you could do this double time by having 2 hoppers taking it out, but basically, yeah. And then if we come over here, this would be have our stack of hoppers. This would have our stack of, or going to become stack of wool, a stack of grass, a stack of repeaters, and a stack of redstone. No items have crossed filters, which is absolutely amazing. And just to see, it is the exact same, so I'm not like doing some magic that wasn't there before. And just to prove it, look, there's a stack of redstone. I'm not adding anything. I'm not cutting this video at all. Stack of redstone. It's actually being sucked out, and you can actually see. Well, actually, you can't see. You can see 2 redstone dust. It's in there. Obviously, it's stuck on 2 redstone dust because it's going so fast. Our eyes, and well, actually, no, it's not even our eyes. It's the game's just saying, let's keep it at 2. That's just easier for everyone. And if you see a stack, and when this becomes a stack, that will no longer be 2. No edit at all. This is true. You can go test it right now if you want. And I'm almost certain this does work in Bedrock Edition. Actually, yes, it does. I just remembered back to one of the worlds I've done on Bedrock Edition. This does work on Bedrock Edition. Yeah. So, yeah, that is pretty much the circuit. It's not hard at all. So yeah, it's as simple as comparator, 3 redstone dust. Actually, I'm going to quickly show how to actually build the actual circuit that actually matters here. And it is bam, bam, and bam, bam, bam. And then obviously the redstone torch at the end. And then you would have hopper, chest, 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 hopper, 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 and there we go. That is literally, I literally, oh yeah, and then obviously I would add this. So if I just make this 44, kaboom, actually, bang, bang, bang. Obviously, it doesn't have to be exactly 11. There just needs to, you need to make sure it can be less, it has to be 45 items in there in total. And it has to be every single slot filled, or it's just not gonna work. It's not gonna filter the items. Keeping the items, and also if this item is something that you are sorting. So if you are sorting clay balls, do not use clay balls. And if you do use clay balls, it's gonna clog up in all of your different. But if let's say you're organizing clay balls and all of the mob drops, you would use something that you don't get from mobs. So, comparators. I don't know any mob that drops comparators, so I would use comparators if I was linking this up to a mob farm. Obviously, if your farms are really, really, really efficient and you are using water, because the only downside about water is if it goes too quickly, the hoppers won't be able to keep up with it and it'll break the system pretty much. So you also need to add this little system, which I'll quickly show you now if you are using water. So it needs to be facing down into the water, and I personally messed this up so many times. But it's like you create a 3x3 platform right next to the dropper. Comparator, red block, red block, red block. Block there, then repeater, redstone dust, repeater, redstone dust. Then this should work. Okay, and there it slows down the drop rate, and obviously you just have this in a tube. Obviously, if I quickly grab my wand, yes, I do have a wand. So there we go. If I quickly do that, this will be able to keep up with it. So there we go. And then if there's hoppers underneath this, which I'll quickly put in just to show that this does work, it will pick it all up. Maybe it won't, but you would need. I wouldn't suggest putting a hopper there. I would put a hopper there, if anything, and have that as an actual block. But anyway, that is it for this video. Please leave a like. Please subscribe. Goodbye.